Hi guys, I am Safura. Welcome back to SFH in Wonderland. Today I am going to read a storybook named Dennis the Menace. He is a master menace. The first chapter is The Merry Menace, and let's read it. Dennis was bored. He had tried playing football with nature, but the ball had landed in the middle of Mum's freshly baked cake. He had tried teaching Bia to fire a catapult, but she just hit him on the nose with it and giggled. He had wrapped himself in a sheet and pretended to be a ghost, but Mum hadn't even batted an eyelid. "I have seen all this before, Dennis," she said. "Huh," said Dennis. "I have got to get to some new menses." Dennis and Nisha moused and grumped around the house all morning. Finally, they slumped down the sofa where Mum was reading Robin Hood to Bia. It was Bia's favorite story. She loved hearing about how Robin made Freya Tuck carry him across the river. She enjoyed the fight he had with Little John. It made her giggle to hear about him shooting arrows and ambushing rich men in Sherwood Forest. But Dennis was not impressed. He had always much preferred the Sheriff of Nottingham. "What a load of rubbish," he grumbled. "I can understand it, taking from the rich part, but I'm not so sure about the giving to the poor." Suddenly, he had a brilliant idea. He quickly scribbled a couple of notes and tucked them under Nisha's collar. Then he whispered in the tribe hound's ear. Nisha bagged and dashed off as fast as he could to deliver them. "He's better than a postman," Dennis grinned. He grabbed his boots and headed for the door, looking excited. Mum followed him into the hall. "Where are you going?" she asked in a worried voice. She always felt a bit worried when Dennis looked so excited. "I'm going to play Robin Hood in the woods," Dennis told her. "Great story, Mum." He had put on his most innocent expression. Normally, Mum would have been very suspicious about this. Just then, Bia started to wail. Mum forgot about Dennis's game and rushed to see what was wrong. "Thanks, little sis," chuckled Dennis and he headed out for the woods. Curly and Pieface were waiting by the big oak tree with Nisha, looking puzzled. "What's going on?" asked Curly. "What did your note mean?" "Did you bring what I told you?" Dennis asked. Curly held out 3 toy bows and 20 arrows with little suckers on the end. "But what are they for?" asked Pieface. "Ever heard how Robin Hood took from the rich and gave to the poor?" asked Dennis. "Yeah, of course," said Pieface and Curly together. "Well, everyone comes through the wood on the way back from the supermarket. We're gonna collect some taxes. Poor menses like us need a feast." They made a hiding place behind an oak tree. The squirrels and the birds that lived in the tree all left quickly. They had seen Dennis before, and they knew it was a good idea to keep out of his way. Nisha chased a few rabbits out of the undergrowth. Everything was ready. "What now?" asked Pieface. "Now we wait," said Dennis, squatting behind the oak tree. Nisha is a dog over here. They didn't have to wait so long. Soon they heard footsteps crunching on the path through the woods. It was Minnie, and she was carrying a heavy-looking bag. They waited until she was under the oak tree. Then Dennis, Pieface, and Curly jumped out in front of her with their bows and arrows. "Aha, mate Minnie," said Dennis. "I am Dennis Hood, and these are my merry men and dog. Now, what's in the bag? We need taxes." Minnie opened the bag. It was full of sweets, bags of Crispies, and comics. Passage through the woods will cost you 3 bags of Crispies, said Dennis. Minnie handed him the Crispies, seething. I'll get you for this, Dennis, she snapped. Report me to the Sheriff of Nottingham, grinned Dennis as Minnie stormed away. Curly and Pipey sniggered. Then Dennis put his finger to his lips and beckoned to them. Shh, he whispered. Listen. Curly and Pipey listened hard. Very, very faintly, they could hear voices. It sounded like singing. The terrible sound grew louder and louder, and they soon could hear the words. If you go down the woods today, you are sure of big surprise. If you go down the woods today, you'd better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic. Dennis stuck his fingers in his ears. Oh, he grimaced. I know those softy voices. Time for another ambush. Down the path skipped Walter, Bertie, Blinkstop, and Spotty Perkins. They were carrying a picnic basket and checked blanket and dozens of teddy bears. Hold it, cried Dennis, pointing his bow and arrow at them. We are the outlaws of Beanotown Forest, and you have to pay a softy tax to get through the wood. Go away, Dennis, sneered Walter. We are going to have a teddy bear's picnic. Fine, grinned Dennis. It will cost you 3 sausage rolls and 3 sandwiches. No way, said Walter, folding his puny arms. Then you'll have to face a challenge, said Dennis. Robin Hood was pretty good with bow and arrow, but nobody's better than me with a catapult. I challenge you to a catapult competition. Ooh, catapults are rather dangerous, trembled Walter. I may hurt my delicate fingers. What are you going to fire? Asked Pipey. Dennis and Curly lifted the lid of the picnic basket and peered in. Perfect, grinned Curly. Squashy tomatoes. Pieface drew a target circle on the oak tree, and Dennis took aim with his best catapulting arm. Pah! Bullseye! Yelled Dennis. Now it's your turn, Walter. If you can hit a bullseye, I'll let you off the softy taxes. Walter held up the catapult, closed his eyes in terror, and pulled. Ow! Yelled Spotty as the squashy tomato hit him slap in the face. Sorry, squeaked Walter. The 3 outlaws roared with laughter. That's entertainment, Dennis scoffed. You can pass through the woods. No tax required. Walter narrowed his eyes and glared at him. You'll be sorry for this, Dennis. Report me to the Sheriff of Nottingham. Dennis chuckled as the softies picked up their picnic basket and went along the path. The outlaws settled down to wait for the next visitor. Soon, Sergeant Slipper came strolling down the path. He gave a shout of surprise when the 3 menaces jumped out in front of him, brandishing bows and arrows. Aha! The Sheriff of Beanotown himself, exclaimed Dennis. I am Dennis Hood, and I demand taxes. Clear off, bellowed Sergeant Slipper. I know you always keep packets of sweets in your helmet for emergencies, said Dennis. We tax you 2 packets. Sergeant Slipper held into his helmet with both hands. Or what? He asked nastily. Fire! Yelled Dennis. 3 arrows flew at Sergeant Slipper and stuck to his helmet like porcupine quills. The outlaws put new arrows in their bow. They are shooting the arrows now. All right, blazed Sergeant Slipper. He took his helmet off and handed over 2 packets of chewy chuckles. You'll be sorry for this. He stormed off through the wood while the outlaws fell about laughing behind him. The next person to come marching along the path was Colonel. He had a fat newspaper under his arm and he was singing an old war song. Dum dum dara, he warbled. Dennis and Curly jumped out from behind a bush as 5 feet covered his ears. Halt! Dennis cried. The outlaws of Beanatown Forest demanded tax to walk through the wood. Outrageous, burbled the colonel. Dennis saw the fat newspaper fall from under his arm and he sniggered. The tax will be 2 comics, he announced. Huh! I don't have any comics, blustered the irate colonel. I only read serious newspaper. What are those then? Asked Dennis, pointing at the newspaper that had fallen open on the ground. Inside it were 10 comics. The colonel went bright red. Blasted impudence, he said as he handed over the 2 comics. Go and tell to the sheriff of Nottingham, grinned Curly. I will, roared the colonel, and he charged off down the path. I reckon it's been a good morning's menacing, Dennis said, looking at the sweets and comics. Let's go back to my house and have an outlaw's feast. They ran back through the wood and along the street to Dennis's house. But when they sneaked in through the back door, they got a shock. Mom was waiting for them. Her arms were folded across her chest and she had a look on her face that Dennis didn't like at all. Uh-oh, he said. Quick, let's get out of here. They turned to leave, but Dad was there blocking the doorway and glowering. I hear you have been playing Robin Hood, said Dad. Yeah, admitted Dennis. Yes, we have heard all about your little game, added Mom. We have had lots of visitors. Minnie, Walter, the Colonel, Sergeant Slipper. Well, began Pieface. They were all telling us how realistic your game was, continued Mom in her most sarcastic voice. So I thought I'd help you out. Exclaimed Dennis, raising his eyebrow. I know you have done the taking from the rich part, but you must have forgotten about the giving to the poor, Mom said. I suppose this must be everything. She grabbed the comics and squeezed before Dennis could stop her. Well, you have been busy, she added. How very generous of you, Dennis. But don't worry, grinned Dad as the doorbell rang. It'll all go to a very good cause. That'll be the lady from the Help the Softies campaign, said Mom. I rang her to say that we had lots of things for the softies, and she said she'd come straight away. She hurried out with the sweets and comics. Dennis gave a howl. Now then, said Dad, grabbing Dennis by the back of his jumper. Let's carry on with the game. I'll be the sheriff of Nottingham, which means I'm in charge. And I seem to remember that the sheriff wasn't a very nice man. He liked giving orders and making other people work for him. No, moaned Dennis, as Dad pulled a very, very long list out of his pocket and pushed all 3 of them into the garden. I have got a whole list of chores for you. Cleaning the drains, polishing the car, washing the windows. And you can start by planting the trees I bought at the garden center last week. Since you seem so interested in forests all of a sudden. This isn't how the story ends, Dennis fumed, clenching his fists. It is when I'm telling it, growled Dad, handing each of them a spade. Now get digging! The perfect ending, chuckled Mum as the three menaces puffed and panted. They don't look so merry now. So guys, this was the end of the story of part 1, Dennis the Menace part 1, chapter 1. If you want me to read the second part, please like this video, smash the subscribe button and click on the personal notification bells to get notified whenever I make new videos like this one. Bye!